Who are they? A woman aiming her turquoise point-and-shoot camera asked no one in particular. September 10th, 2010 was another bright, warm day. Class 9 of Year Up New York City, 87 strong, had assembled on the steps of Federal Hall behind a Year Up banner for the class picture taken there at the start of each term. The New York staff jokes about how many tourists have found the site worth capturing for their click-and-save digital scrapbooks, peering at them later in Beijing or Berlin and wondering, who is Year Up? The students in those class portraits are mostly of color. African American and Hispanic, several Asian, a few Caucasian faces. For them, Wall Street had been as distant and irrelevant to their lives as the Great Wall of China. They had traveled there from some of the poorest, most neglected and crime-ridden neighborhoods in Brooklyn, Harlem, Lower Manhattan, the Bronx, and Queens. The majority of them, over 90%, came from households eligible for public benefits. If they had any employment, it was in a numbing succession of minimum wage jobs that netted an average yearly salary of just over $6,000. Since we opened the facility in September 2006, enrolling a new class every 6 months, Year Up New York City had graduated 7 classes, while an 8th was completing the internship phase. Class 9 also included 39 students in our new Brooklyn site. All of them had graduated from high school or obtained a GED, a Year Up admissions requirement. Here are a few of the non-academic skills some of Class 9 had found it useful to learn along the way. How to find space in your heart and in your cramped apartment for young cousins whose parents died of AIDS. How to stay clean and nourished and navigate your Bronx high school without anyone knowing you're homeless, penniless, and on your own at 16. How to calmly and effectively seek a transfer when your English teacher calls you the most unspeakable of racial epithets. How to get a good night's rest when the other foster teenager in your room sleeps with razors under her pillow. And finally, how to use Facebook to save your own life. Literally. Like the New York City classes before them, they started life abundantly rich in what social workers call risk factors. More than 40% had some sort of financial hardship, low income, lack of medical insurance, scant or no resources for college or job training. A third had significant challenges at home. They had been in foster care, acted as the primary caregiver for other family members at a very young age, or were confronting some other sort of family crisis, drug abuse, domestic violence. Some were already parents themselves, struggling with limited resources and childcare issues. Others were homeless or transient. Most had been severely shortchanged by substandard or failing public schools. If you just read the papers, most of what's reported is fairly grim data. The New York State Education Department reported that in New York City, only 21% of students entering city high schools in 2006, as many of Class 9 did, graduated with high enough scores on state math and English tests to be deemed ready for higher education or well-paying careers. Broken down along racial and ethnic lines, the stats were even worse. Only 13% of African American students and 15% of Hispanics qualified in that readiness category. Motivation is not measured in those statistical surveys, but that is a key factor in Year Up's admissions process. We look for students who are willing and eager to make a significant change in their lives. That day in New York, the 84 looked anything but disconnected, disaffected, or hopeless. They were wearing suits and ties, business-appropriate skirts and dresses, shined shoes, and 200-watt smiles. A cheer went up among them, loud enough to startle the security dogs outside the stock exchange into alert mode. Once the photos were taken and the banner was rolled up, the students and their instructors walked a block and a half around the corner to a suite of crisp blue and white Year Up classrooms at 55 Exchange Place. The 84 were divided into 2 learning communities, LCs in program vernacular, under the guidance of site leaders Mosameh Muhammad, LCM, and Lindsay Jones, LCL. Separately, each LC was...
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.